Once, an old man loved spending time with a cute puppy. He had no idea that the puppy would grow up to be a huge, ravenous monster that ate everything in its path. A decade went by, and a lot of damage was done. In 1506, a young man named John led an uprising against the king who was in charge. With the help of his rebel army, they were able to overthrow the monarch. But then they had to deal with a new leader who put down all opposition and took full control. During these troubled times, a terrible plague spread through the kingdom of Chosun, and the new king told everyone who had it to be killed. Normal peasants were herded cruelly into a deep pit where they were killed. In the chaos, a scared woman begged for the life of her healthy daughter, but an arrow killed her. The little girl somehow managed to stay alive. And as the men's screams died down, she tried to wake up her mother. The pit was covered in darkness, and there was a long, scary howl. 10 years later, rumors spread through the kingdom and reached Zhang, who was now an adult. There were scary rumors that monsters would come out of the mountains where the infected had been killed and attack innocent civilians. As the fear grew, the king's power was in danger, so he had to do something drastic deep in the forest. John, his loyal friend Sung, and their adopted daughter Myung went on an unsuccessful search for food. When they got back from hunting, they had nothing to show for it. Myung wanted to move closer to the palace to get better food, but he was turned down. She felt sad, so she went to the garden and picked vegetables for their meager soup. In the meantime, someone they didn't want there sneaked into their yard and peered through their windows. Myung quickly armed herself with a bow and demanded to know why the intruder was there. The person who broke the law was a servant named her who was looking for a man who used to be in the king's personal guard. Myung didn't understand what he was saying because her father was just a simple farmer. At that moment, a young man named Son stepped forward and just missed getting hit by Myung's arrow. This made the two of them fall in love right away. In the middle of all the chaos, Young showed up. She was sent by Pyongyang to find her father. Myung was shocked to find out that both her father and son had been respected guards of His Majesty in the past. Yoon sticks to his decision not to go back to his old job and tells her to leave. When young John shows up out of the blue, he gets everyone's attention. As they talk, the king talks about what happened 10 years ago when young Jang brought the little girl to the palace to show that she wasn't sick. The guardian is shocked by the king's cruel order, saying that the disease has gone away and that the king killed off his people for no reason. Guards pull out their swords and get ready to fight the man, but young Jang's son steps in to protect him. Surprisingly, the ruler spares the soldiers and leaves the guards and the girl outside of Hanyang. Again, Yoonjung asks Yoon for help and tells him about a scary monster that spreads disease and kills innocent people. The former guard's battle sword is given back to him, and the king asks him to protect Kisong once more. After a night of not being able to sleep, Yoon decides to go back to Hanyang. Shamans are doing a ritual near the river to get rid of the cruel monster. They are attacked out of the blue, and the river turns blood red. A young girl sees the tragedy and manages to get away. When the young family gets to Hanyang, they are shocked by how poor the people are and how hard it is for them to stay alive. When they find her, they ask her to help them look into a new crime scene near the river. They find cut-off limbs on the bodies of shamans and traders. Yun looks at the bodies of the people who died and notices strange marks on their ankles. He is determined, so he asks the brave young witness questions, and she tells him about her strange experience without being afraid. Yun and Sung go on a trip to find the truth by following the witness. They see a person in a hood give her a bag, and then they run away quickly. Sung tries to catch the man, but he gets away on his fast horse. They catch up with the witness as she gives food from her bag to hungry children. The girl tells Yun that she made up her story about what happened in the river to get food because of the terrible rumors. People are so afraid that they can't work or go to the market, so they end up going hungry. She is sure that the creature exists, even though she has never seen it. In the mountains, there is a second attack. Yun and Sun find knife wounds and weird blisters on the bodies of the victims. One body is strangely stuck on a high tree branch, which is impossible for a person. Yun tells the king what he has found, which suggests that these attacks were faked by a human who used knives to make them look like the monster's blows. But all of the victims died of a disease no one knew about. To prove his theory, he showed that a mouse that ate the bodies got sores quickly and died within hours. Yoon is determined to find out what really happened, while Zhang Zhong is in charge of putting together a search team with the help of the Un. Since they can only have 100 soldiers, they have to take on volunteer peasants and leave behind women and children. Yun recognizes his daughter, who is dressed up among them. She eventually talks him into letting her join the mission. As part of their search, the group looks through the mountains, but all they find is pink slime stuck to tree branches. Commander Jin doesn't want to give up because he thinks the supposed monster hunts at night. Sung wants to end the search before nightfall. Young people worry that there are no human bones, which suggests that the creature is very hungry. Yoon still tells the group to split up and keep going on their quest. In the meantime, The king tells his advisor that he is sure there are no real monsters and that he thinks the attacks are planned. As night falls, Jones's group runs into problems. A lost volunteer leads them astray, and they end up on a red-stained cliff. When Yun and Mayang get to the scene, they feel like they've been there before. Yun finds a depression and tells the other people to look in the pit. In a surprising turn of events, Jin tells his soldiers to kill the peasants. Yun's group finds out Jin found the monster when they see a signal fire and get hit with a lot of arrows, which leads to a massacre. Yun saves Mayang, but they both end up being caught. Jin shows that the monster was made up and that peasants were killed in a cruel way to make people afraid. Mayang remembers things from the past, which makes her even more determined to get away. Jin cruelly pushes them into the pit, but they hold onto a rope and make it out alive. Yun vows to get revenge for his daughter's death, but he gets hit in the head while Jin gives the order for a fake monster attack on the rest of the search party. Mayang and her friend cleverly avoid the arrows that are being shot at them. Suddenly, the air gets thick with heavy breaths as a huge creature with long claws comes out of the darkness and climbs up the rocky cliff to kill a guard. The angry monster, which is covered in sores, charges at the soldiers without fear, ignoring their useless arrows. It closes in quickly and rips them apart. Sung and his friend take advantage of a chance to get away and fall into the pit. Mayang and her friend make it through the fight, and they look around at the blistered bodies around them. They have to tell the king about what they've found so that the disease-causing creature doesn't get to the capital. Unexpectedly, the monster goes back to its lair, giving a short break. When the long-lost old man comes out of the cave, he gives the team important advice. He shows them that the monster is reliant on sound and movement by telling them to cover themselves with the monster's slime and keep very quiet. The old man leads the monster down into the pit, where it is dangerously close to Maya. The monster's sense of smell is tricked by the old man, and it chokes on the leftover pieces of human flesh. The creature spits right on the girl's face, which is shocking. Eventually, the beast will get so tired that it will fall asleep, giving the group a short window of time to hide in a nearby cave. But their sense of safety doesn't last long. When the creature smells the lingering human scent coming from Young, it chases them through the cave's dangerous maze. The group of people somehow avoids becoming prey by navigating their way well. Their hard journey brings them to the edge of a cliff, where they must jump into the water below. Jin and a few guards are also able to get back to the palace, where they bring a very bad news. Jin gives a report to Prime Minister Sim that proves the monster is real. It is shocking to find out that he is the mastermind behind the horrible crimes and that he took advantage of people's fears by making up the creature. Sim has influenced every choice that King Kim Jong has made. When Sim sees the monster for what it is, he fears the anger of the people and uses the king's weakness to increase his own power by ordering the city to be set on fire. Some of the people on the search party go back to the capital with horrible ulcers, which causes panic among the people there. Soldiers carelessly set fire to houses, trapping innocent people inside. The old man leads the group through a hidden passageway that leads to the basement of the palace. Inside, they find a room with a bunch of big cages. The old man reveals that the former ruler was very interested in monsters and that there is a place in the castle where they can be kept. Having cared for these strange animals when he was younger, the old man became close to one of them. When King Kim Jong got rid of the previous leader, he ordered that all dangerous monsters be killed. The loyal servant helped his beloved pet get away by making a secret passage. After eating the dead infected people in the pit, the creature changed into a cruel monster. Now, as the old man sneaks through the secret passage, he tells the group to use a toy as a guide to go up. The old man tricks the huge dog into an enclosure and then sacrifices himself by locking himself in with the angry animal. The monster looks at the old man with an evil eye and rips him apart with uncontrollable rage. After being let out of its cage, the creature easily breaks free and fixes its eyes on the last few survivors, chasing them relentlessly. During the Prime Minister's speech, he tells the people that he will help the people who were hurt and who lost their homes in the fire. People thank the Prime Minister, who they see as their savior. They are thankful and naive. Jones and his group get to the king's chambers, which proves that the monster was created in the castle. Sam comes in with armed guards all of a sudden, hurting John. The rebels take over, and the king's guards are killed. Yun's team is taken hostage by Sim's guards. The Prime Minister lies and says that John ordered the capital to be set on fire. He does this to take advantage of the people's lack of faith in the king and make it easier for him to get rid of the king. Sim tells the guards to kill the prisoners, but right then the monster comes out of the basement. The soldiers try to fight it off, but it kills them all quickly. Young acts like he has a terrible itch in the courtyard to get the guards' attention. Seizing the chance, they use skill to break free from their chains and beat their opponents. Yun and Zhang also get away from the guards. Sim sends every guard in the kingdom to fight the monster. In the end, the creature is caught by huge ropes. The loyal servants find a safe place for the king, and Sim tells the soldiers to take the monster outside the castle to be killed in public. But the beast suddenly gets away and sprays the guards with its bloody fluid. Right away, the guards got a fever and started getting sores all over their bodies. When the main characters arrive, the Prime Minister and a few guards run away in fear. They plan to put the monster in a holding cell in the basement. Un decides to become live bait, even though his friends and family try to stop him. At the same time, people from the area are running to the palace to get away from the disease. Myung tells them that the monster is there and that Sim started the terrible fire. Outraged, the people throw the Prime Minister into the castle and lock the gates, leaving him to face the monster's anger. Yun shoots off signal flares to distract the monster. In the basement, Sung and her friends set up bombs. Jin stabs Sung with his sword because he wants to get even with her, but she won't give up. Myung shoots an arrow at Jin, which makes him remember the first time they met and fall to the ground. Yun goes down into the basement while the beast chases after them. The team escapes before the bomb goes off by lighting the fuse. John sends his best friend outside and tells him to take care of Myung. He locks himself in with the monster and sets off a huge explosion that breaks the castle into pieces. When dawn comes, the rain washes the dead clean. The people of the town open the gates to the castle, and Myung looks for her father. She finds Yun miraculously still alive under the rubble. They save the wounded warrior with the help of the people in the town. Myung is reunited with her adoptive father at this happy time, and the people celebrate their victory. At the end of the story, Young stays at the palace to work with her love. Myung's dad and his best friend decide to go back home and start their lives over. During their trip, Sung asks John how he plans to stay alive. He says that he tied himself to a rope and just barely escaped the explosion by flying into the sky. What we all can take away from this story is, always seek the truth, stand up for what is right, and have the courage to challenge those who abuse their power. That's it for today. And remember, if you subscribe with notifications on and if you like the video, something truly amazing is about to happen to you very soon. So don't miss that out and stay tuned for more movie recaps.